Radio Sheffield.
I want you to listen to this next story and imagine it was you that found this. This has got to be the best thing ever. Sue Mowforth was cleaning out the family home here in Sheffield when she stumbled across some love letters between her mum and her dad from the Second World War. Her dad, Cyril, got married to Olga just weeks before he signed up as a soldier. And between 1940 and 46, they wrote to each other nearly every day. And then she found all the letters. Can you imagine? This collection of letters has now been turned into a book by Sue and her brother Peter. Here's a letter that Cyril wrote on the 22nd of June, 1941. It was in the Middle East.
Hello, my darling. Today is our day. All of it. And since it is a Sunday and I've no duties whatsoever, shall we take a stroll, my lady, and wander over the hills and far away to that land of bliss we always find together? Yes, of course you'll come. I can see consent in your lovely clear eyes, the light in your face. The whole clean eagerness of your very being expresses consent.
Imagine finding these. Peter and Sue Mowforth with me now. Firstly, Sue, what did you think when you found these letters?
Good morning, Toby.
Morning.
I was just amazed. I didn't really know what to do with them to begin with. I put them back in they were wrapped up in brown paper and tied with a ribbon. And when I realised what they were, I just put them back because there was just so much to do tidying up the house, as you can imagine. And it was quite a while before I actually thought I really ought to get them typed up because you can't read them when it's just handwriting. We're not used to reading handwriting these days, are we? So I got them typed up, and that took 3 years. And then I had to I asked the family what they wanted to do with them, and they said they'd actually like them put into a book so that they could all read them. And it would be a nice tribute to our parents as well if they were in a book. So that took another 2 years to organise how the book was put together and get all the photographs and all that sort of thing. And we had 20 copies printed up just for the family and distributed around the children and the grandchildren. And we've all got a copy now. And there's a copy in the Imperial War Museum as well.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, how lucky. It must be, just to get that piece of history, you must be over the moon.
Oh, it was. It's a terrific insight into what life was like during those days because they were very, very difficult days. I think we forget how difficult it was during the war, and the separation between people must have been so traumatic for everybody. So I felt it was a good use of my time, really, to get that piece of social history and the history of the war, and also an insight into what our parents were, what they were like as people.
Absolutely. Peter, your brother joins us on the phone. We're on the line. Morning, Peter.
Morning, Toby.
Morning. Sue mentions what your parents were like. What were they like? Your dad sounds incredibly poetic.
Well, he was. I mean, you read what's in the book and you find there he was for 6 years involved in frontline fighting across North Africa and Germany. And it's very difficult to equate that with the father who you knew, who was just an ordinary family man, who was the sort of person who you asked for pocket money, who provided taxi rides and gave you a mortgage. And you tend not to think of parents as actually being lovers who had their own life. And that was just a generation of people who just didn't talk about these sort of things. It's a different age to the present.
And what's it like reading the book?
I think it's been hugely emotional for all the family, the children, the grandchildren, and then it'll be the great-grandchildren who can read this, because it gives you an insight into what was an absolutely traumatic moment in history, but all laid down in letters, whereas today it's Facebook and people share them and lots of people engage with them. Here, these were just private letters between a man and a wife.
And how big is the book? I mean, they wrote nearly every day.
The book's almost 500,000 words. I mean, it's bigger than Lord of the Rings. It needs editing down, believe me, because a lot of it is when people talk about the war, you think it's fighting all the time, but most of it is just hanging around, bored, and nothing to do, and a lot of Mum's writings were all a lot of the hard drudgery and trivia of living in wartime Britain. Coupons, make do and mend, grow your own, all that kind of stuff.
Sue, are there any plans to release this on a wider basis?
I don't know. No, we're sort of we've just been amazed at the interest since we actually this media expose, if you like, of the book only came about. We were asked to do a historical talk in Glasgow last week, and it was only since then we've realised the number of people who are really, really interested in this sort of thing. So we're just casting around as to what to do with it at the moment.
I think it'd be absolutely fascinating, but the first things first, what a lovely family heirloom. Peter and Sue, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Much
Okay,
appreciated.
thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.